Hey everybody, Marcus Crawford here with the Idaho Quadcopter channel. Hey, I've got a product for you today that is not a drone. This is a product by a company called Ugreen. They've got a Kickstarter program going with this product. What is it, you ask? Well, it's something that's important to everybody that is a drone enthusiast, whether you're an FPV drone enthusiast or primarily a camera drone enthusiast like myself. So you've got a lot of files. Well, what do you do with them? Well, you use a NAS device, and that's what this is. This is a by a company called Ugreen. They've just started a Kickstarter on this product. This particular one is the NAS, and I'm reading it off the back of the box, the NASync DXP2800. Now, this is a 2-bay version of a network storage device. And a network storage device, listen, I'm a real noob at this. I have never used one of these before. My standard operating practice in the past has been to use external hard drives. I have stacks of these with video files in them. If you're videoing in 4K on your camera drone, you've got some huge files and you got to find a place to put them. The problem with an external drive like this is eventually the drive is going to go bad and you'll lose all of your data. So that's always been a worry for me. I've got a stack of these with a lot of video on them that I don't want to lose. So when the folks at Ugreen offered me a network storage device to review, I jumped on it because it's something that I've always been interested in and something that I always thought I needed to do. Now, they have numerous versions of this. The one that they sent me is just the 2-bay version, but they have several of them, and I'm going to grab, I've got some notes here so that I get it right. They have, of course, this 2-bay version that I've got, and then they've got two 4-bay versions, one of them with an upgraded processor. It's called the DXP2800 Plus, and it's a 4-bay. So in other words, when I say bay, that means how many hard drives can go into the device. So obviously the 4-bay version will hold 4 drives. They've got a 6-bay version, and they also have an 8-bay version. Ultimately, that may be the one that I need. I have a ton of files and a lot of storage that I need, and so it would be handy to have. But they also have an SSD version as well. So you could put your SSD storage device in that one. And I guess I should explain to people that are new at this like I am, an SSD is a solid state device as opposed to a traditional hard drive. And I've got a couple of them here, so I'll hold it up. These are traditional magnetic disk drives that go in the network attached storage device. So you people that are more experienced at this than I am are going to want to know a lot about the specs. And again, I printed it off here to make sure that I got it right. So the processor in these things are important. In other words, it's almost kind of a computer within itself, if I understand it correctly. So it has an x86 12th generation N series. Now, Intel no longer makes the Celeron device, so their lower-end processors are called the N series now, but it's got 4 cores and 4 threads. It has 8 gigabytes of DDR5 memory, and ODECC is supported. I don't know what that is. You guys in the comments tell me what that means. But it is expandable to 16 gigabytes of RAM, and it has 32 gigabytes of flash memory. Now, the flash memory system disk, I presume that's what holds the operating system. That's what I believe it does. Again, if I'm wrong about that, please correct me in the comments. But it does have 2 SATA drive bays, and I showed you that's a traditional disk drive. And you could put SSDs in there as well. So you'd have room for 2 solid-state drives if you wanted to. RAID, let's talk about RAID for a second. That's the next thing it's showing here, and I got some more notes on that. Because this is just a 2-bay, you wouldn't go anything beyond RAID 1. But there is what they call JBOD, which is essentially it just would be equal to the capacity of both of your drives. In other words, I have two 4 terabyte drives here, so the capacity of the whole device would be 8 terabytes. And then there's basic, and basic only requires one drive. So in other words, if I just stuck one drive in there, in this case a 4 terabyte, that's what I'd have is 4 terabytes. Now, we're going to talk about RAID, and I'm no expert again, but I do understand the importance of it. So RAID 0 is similar to JBOD, so I'm not exactly sure I understand the difference, but if you put 2 drives in there, your total storage space would be equal to, in this case, 2 4 terabyte drives. It would be equal to 8 terabytes, so the total capacity of both drives. But I think what's more important is RAID 1. And RAID 1, what it does is it mirrors, and that's where you are able to protect your data. So I'll put two 4 terabyte drives in this device, and I will have 4 terabytes of total storage because both drives will be a mirror of each other. Why is that important? Well, it's important because we know hard drives break, including solid state drives. Solid state drives will quit on you too, but this way you have a backup. So you would just simply pull that defective drive out, put another 4 terabyte drive in there, and you'd be good to go. You wouldn't lose any of your data. So that is a critical thing for me, and that is why that's important. So anyway, that is what this offers. Now, if you go into the bigger bay versions, you get into the higher versions of RAID, and for the purposes of this video, I'm not going to get into that because that's not what we're doing. So ports, this has 2 LAN ports on there, and I believe they're just 1 gigabyte ports on this device. I think you have to get into the higher ones to get the 10 gigabyte ports. But on the front panel, it is got 1 Generation 2 Type-C port, 1 USB 3 port, and on the rear panel, it has a USB 3 port. Also on the rear panel, it has a USB 2 port. This particular device does not have a card reader, which would be handy. The ones with more bays have a card reader on them. Why would that be important? Well, it would just be an easy way to save your files directly to the device without having to go through a computer. This 2-bay version does not have that. The bigger ones do. And it does have an HDMI port on there, so you can hook it up directly to your TV. Again, the uses of this thing, I want to use it to store my video files on, but and you guys that are more into this than I am, how is this different than a home server? I think those lines have gotten blurred recently as these kind of network storage devices have become more powerful. But I know you could use this for a Plex server if you wanted to. You could save all of your, if you like to have all of your movies and so forth on your own system instead of streaming them, you could use a device like this and you could stream directly to your TV or whatever devices you wanted to watch them on. So anyway, I know nothing about how to set one of these up or hook it up, so I'm gonna do that. But in the meantime, let's get it out of the box, and I can at least show you what's in the box, and then I'm going to stumble through putting it all together and see if I can get it running. Okay, let's get this box open. So there it is. I like how they have a handle on here that kind of helps you take care of things. Let's pull that open, and look at this. On top, we've got a nice foam protector and a box that says accessories. Let's pull this off. Let's just pull this whole thing off. And oh yeah, okay, this accessory box, I got the piece of foam out of there. This accessory box is down the whole side of it there. We'll open that in a second, but it looks like the only thing left in there is just the device itself. So let's pull that out. Hey, I almost missed at the bottom of the box, there's a manual and warranty card. Often a manual isn't something that we always look at, but I'm definitely going to be reading this one cover to cover. Okay, as you can see, this is well taped up in a nice soft plastic bag. So let's just pull that out of the end. And here's the device itself. So this is pretty self-explanatory. You've got a USB-C port right here and a USB-A port right here. This is a power switch. And then you've got indicator lights for LAN. In other words, that's when you're hooked to your network, and disk 1 and disk 2. And then I can see it's pretty self-explanatory. You unlock the disk. This is the lock and unlock for pulling those disks, the disk trays out. And we'll look at that in a second. And then on the back, it's telling us that this is a dust filter. So yeah, we'll pull that off before we fire it up. But here's where you get a lot of the ports on here. So HDMI port, right? So that's if you're going to hook it up to well, any kind of a display or TV, etc. USB A port right there, 3.2, and then a couple of USB 2.0 ports. And obviously, well, not obviously for a lot of people, including me, that's just the speed at which the port can transfer data. And then that's your LAN port. So I always heard them call the Cat5 cable. I know there's newer versions of network cables now, but that's what that is. And then obviously that's a power port. And then this little hole right here, that says reset next to it. So. Okay, let's take a look at the accessory box here. I'm sure there's going to be a bunch of cables and other things in here. So I'm just going to take a guess here. I think this is a LAN cable. Let's open it up and take a peek. So rather than try and peel these open, I'm just going to use a pair of scissors here. Maybe. Yeah, that did the trick. And yeah, just as I guessed, let's pull the cover off here. Yeah, that is the LAN cable. And, you know, whether that's a Cat5 or a newer version, I'm not technical enough to know, but I'm sure it's a newer version. And I like that they give you covers to protect the cable. You know, I'm going to open this box from the other end because it looks like that's the easier way to get everything out, and it definitely is. So let's pull all this stuff out. Okay, I don't need to take this one out of the bag to know what it is. It's a US power cable. 120 volt AC power cable. And then this, I don't know that we need to take it out of the bag. Well, we should. I'll show it to you. It is the power supply. So there it is. There's the power supply, and obviously it's got the barrel connector that just plugs into the, well, I showed you the power port on the back right there. It's going to plug in just like that. And then obviously you hook the AC power cable up to this and plug it into the wall, and you're good to go there. So the other thing we've got here, it looks to me like it's a screwdriver and some screws. I'm not exactly sure what that's about, but let me just show it to you here, what's in the bag here. So yeah, it's a little Phillips head, or that could be JIS, I don't know, but I'm sure it's a Phillips head, crosshead screwdriver. And oh, look at that. That tool, I guarantee you, is to use to pull the trays out of. It's got a little slotted end on there. In fact, let's just pull it out so I can show you. They give you two of them, which is handy. But anyway, that slotted end is what you're going to use like a key to pull the drive bay out. And then you get a bag of screws. And I noticed that all of these screws have blue thread locker on them. So not sure what those are for, but I'm sure we'll find out in the course of putting this all together. Okay, since they provided us with this little device to lock and unlock the bays, I can see they're in the unlock position right now. We just simply turn that in there like that, and that locks the bay in place. So let's unlock again, and let's see. Yeah, you just press down, and you got a handle, and you pull the bay right out. Well, let's take a look at that bay a little closer. So that's what you're going to slide your hard drive into. Slide it in there. In theory, I guess you could leave it unlocked all the time, because all you need to do is press that button, and that's how you're going to pull it out. So I've got a lot to learn about this and get it going now. I know that they have an app that controls everything, so we're going to have to figure all that out. And what I'll do is, as I'm doing that, I'll take screenshots and then I'll do a voiceover type narration. Now, typically when I do things, when I have a new product like this, you know what? I stumble through it and narrate through it live because honestly, I want you guys to see all of the things that would happen if you get a given device and you're trying to fly a drone, etc. But in this case, because this is so new to me, if I did that, there would be a bunch of boring dead spaces in there. So I'm going to take pictures as I go along, and we'll narrate, and I'll explain to you exactly how I got it going. And again, I'm going to set it up on my system as RAID 1 so that I can store video files that I take with my drone, etc. In this device. And I have two 4 terabyte drives, and I'll have a total of 4 terabytes of space because they will be mirrored. And if anything goes wrong with either drive, I'll still be safe and I won't lose any data, I guess is what I was trying to say. Those files will be safe. So yeah, let me get to that, and we'll see you on the other side. Okay, let's take a look at how easy it is to install a 3.5-inch disk drive into the Ugreen Network attached storage device. So we already talked about the bays that the drive goes into. So we simply push in here, pull out, and there is the bay right there. Well, to get the drive in there, you just press down right here. There's a little piece of plastic. You press down, and it just simply, the drawer slides apart. You simply slide the drive into the bay and then push back down on this side, and it's locked into place. And if you ever need to take it out, you just simply press that down again, pull the slider out, and the bay comes out. So it's all set to push into the network attached storage device. So let's just go ahead and slide it right in. That's simple, and we're ready to go. So let's take a look at how we've got it connected. Obviously, you've got to have power, so we have the power brick hooked up, and it just plugs in via the barrel connector. And then to connect it to the network, here is the network connection right there, the LAN connection. And let me move the device so you can see I've got it hooked up to my router. And so then it is truly a network device. So let's talk about how you're going to get your device configured. What you initially do is load the app onto your PC or Mac, and that is available to you on the Ugreen website. It'll show you that in the manual that comes with the device. Once you get that loaded, this is the screen that will greet you and walk you through that setup. So this one is self-explanatory. This is just where you create your account and set up a password. And then this page is simply a registration page. So once you log in, this is the app interface, and this is what it looked like. Essentially the desktop for the device. Next, it walked me through creating the storage space for on the NAS system. And so then, as I said before, I wanted to set it up as RAID 1 so it mirrors and I don't lose any data. And this next page was setting up the file system, and it's that simple. We're complete. You can see I've got it set up as RAID 1. Ultimately, about 3.6 terabytes of space is what I'll have to save data onto. It's that easy. Hey, okay, the Ugreen NASync DXP2800 2-bay network attached storage device. You can see we got it up and running, right? So we kind of gave you an overview of the device, and then I showed you what I went through to get it, how I connected it to my network, and a little bit of a slideshow of the app and how I configured it and got it going, what you have to do to get it up and running. It was pretty straightforward. I had a couple little hoops to jump through, but nothing too outrageous. And I'm a total noob. So trust me, if I can do it, you can do it. If you have any tech skill at all, no problem at all. Now, I set this up as a RAID 1 device. That allows me to have mirroring. In other words, there's 2 hard drives in there. Whatever data I put on there is copied to both drives. That way, if one drive goes bad, you're not going to lose your data. You still have it on another good drive. You simply replace the bad drive and you're off to the races again. So that's pretty cool. And it should be noted that they are going to have several versions of this. And we talked about that a little bit earlier. Again, this is the 2-bay, but they go all the way up to an 8-bay. They've got a 4, a 6, and an 8. They got 2 versions of the 4. Oh, I should also say they have a solid state drive version of it as well. That just, that would be a lot smaller, just using SSD devices. So pretty cool, pretty neat setup. And I'm going to use the heck out of this thing. Again, I put 2 4 terabyte drives in there. So I've got a total of 4 terabytes of storage, again, because they're mirroring each other. I could have set it up as RAID 0, and then I would have had 8 terabytes available to me, but it would not be redundant. In other words, it wouldn't be mirrored. So it's all about making sure your data is safe, and so that's what we're doing, or at least what I decided to do with this. So they are going to offer this product initially, I know, on Kickstarter. So depending on when you're watching this video, I will put a link to Ugreen's website that describes their NAS devices. So yeah, we'll just put that in the description below. So take a look at that, and I guess that's about it. I do want to thank Ugreen for sending this device for me to review. It was a learning experience for me, and I appreciate them doing that. So yeah, okay, now this time it really is about it. This is Marcus Crawford with the Idaho Quadcopter channel out. And if you like this kind of content, please consider subscribing to my channel. Most of all, I so appreciate you taking the time to look at this video. And of course, we'll see you on the next one. Bye now.